In this video, I'm going to reply to the 16 most commonly asked questions I get from event organizers who want to host an event at sea. Hello, my name is Andrea from Bancosta Cruise. I have over 30 years of experience in the cruise industry, and in my early career I sailed as a licensed master mariner on board large cruise ships. So let's start. Question 1. What is the minimum number of people needed? Actually, you can start an event at sea from just 10 cabins or suites all the way up to thousands of participants if you are planning something like a massive music festival. Question 2. Do I need to rent or charter the whole ship or just a partial charter? You can do both. The advantage of chartering the whole ship is that you have the full vessel exclusively for your group. You get maximum exclusivity, privacy, branding, and you might even have some flexibility to adjust the itinerary. But it is a more demanding contract. You need to plan well in advance, sometime up to 2 years in advance. Of course, we can help you with that. But as an easy alternative, you can have a small group and host a lovely event on a ship shared with other guests. You still have your dedicated spaces for your program, but of course with less exclusivity, privacy and branding. Normally, a group event on a cruise can be booked much closer to the sailing date. You won't have influence over the fixed itinerary, and yes, you will have to share the ship with our guests. Question 3. What is so special about an event on a cruise ship? Well, there are several reasons. But the inclusivity on board is normally incredible, especially on luxury cruise ships. You can easily control your budget because accommodation, meals, entertainment, meeting spaces, and drinks are all included. The backdrop of the ocean also creates a unique setting for unforgettable memories. This is the power of the ocean. You just feel better. And on board a cruise ship, there is also a great sense of community. For corporate events, when the ship is sailing, you are all in the exact same environment. You won't have people wandering off to another place in town. Plus, you will visit amazing destinations without any complex logistics. Question 4. Are cruise ships safe? Cruise ships are generally extremely safe. I am an ex-master mariner and ex-chief operating officer of a prestigious training center for cruise ship captains, and I can tell you the companies we work with lead the world in safety standards, and the crew is trained at very high international standards. Of course, a cruise ship is a complex operation at sea, but it is extremely well managed. Even driving a car or moving by train or plane has its minimal risks. Question 5. Will we feel the ship moving in the ocean? Well, it depends very much on the itinerary and the season. For example, if you're sailing the Mediterranean in full summer or the Inside Passage in Alaska, the sea is normally smooth and you will not feel it. But yes, if you sail, for example, to Iceland or to Antarctica in the Drake Passage, you might feel the sea. During ocean crossings, you might experience a kind of long swell. That is a smooth, long ocean sweep that sometimes you might not even see, but it creates a bit of motion regardless of the ship size. However, modern cruise ships have really advanced stabilizers to reduce the rolling, that is the side-to-side motion. And if there is a storm, the captain will make the necessary adjustments to the itinerary to avoid discomfort. The technology available nowadays is incredibly good, and serious cruise lines even have meteorological support teams at their headquarters. Personally, I kind of enjoy a slight sea movement. It makes me feel better, and it is kind of the charm of being on a cruise. But if you are sensitive to it, there are special plasters that you can wear behind your ear that help with equilibrium. And if you really don't want to feel any sea movement, you should consider a river cruise. Question 6. What should I wear on a cruise? It very much depends on the brand, on the itinerary, and on the vibe on board. The days of mandatory gala evenings are mostly gone. I remember when I started 30 years ago, gala evenings were loved. Almost every guest was wearing a tuxedo or an evening dress. Nowadays, cruising is much more casual, even in luxury brands. Some brands do still have a sort of gala night, but generally it is relaxed. Think about smart casual or resort wear in the evening. Normally, beach clothing is not allowed in the indoor lounges or dining places in the evenings. But this is also applicable in any high-end resort on shore. Question 7. Are cruise ships sustainable? All cruise ships have to follow strict international regulations when it comes to sustainability. And some leading cruise lines go even beyond that, aiming for zero emissions. This includes extensive recycling, reduction of plastic, and ensuring that nothing toxic goes overboard. Many new cruise ships are powered by cleaner fuels like LNG. They use incinerators with heat recovery systems. But of course, ships move and energy is needed. But if we compare this transportation to the impact of moving thousands of people by road between hotels, modern cruise ships have a very low impact on the environment. Question 8. What are the best itineraries? This really depends on you and the objectives you have for your event. The most popular destinations worldwide are the Caribbean, followed by Europe. But you can find an itinerary basically everywhere. Expedition cruises to polar areas if you look for adventure, Alaska, but also tropical islands in the Pacific, Asia, or rivers in Europe. Name it, and normally you will find any cruise there. Question 9. Are cruise ships crowded? What we call contemporary cruise ships, which are normally large to ultra large, do normally have a more crowded feeling. Think about a busy mega resort on land, especially during the peak summer season when there are a lot of families. Large cruise ships do sometimes feel very crowded, but perhaps that is what you're looking for. A fun vibe with many public spaces and a flow of happy people. If you go into the luxury segment, you will find much more extra space, smaller ships, and very uncrowded feeling. River cruise ships are also normally rather quiet due to their limited size. It really depends on what you're looking for and your budget. Question 10. How is the culinary experience on board? On almost any cruise ships, the meals are included. But are they good? That comes to your personal taste. I must admit, in the contemporary segment, there are brands that are better than others, and the quality of the included meals can vary. But if you go on premium or luxury cruise ships, you will see that the culinary experience upgrades significantly. There are fewer people on board and more generous budgets. In some brands, you can have wonderful experiences with Michelin level restaurants. It is very popular now on contemporary cruise ships to have specialty restaurants for an extra fee. These are normally more elevated options then the complimentary dining experiences. Overall, many cruisers are generally very happy with the dining experiences across the board. Question 11. How is the entertainment? This is where large cruise ships, to my opinion, truly shine. The large and ultra large ships normally have a Broadway or Las Vegas style production shows, which are truly impressive and included in the price. On smaller cruise ships, there could be still production shows or more cultural entertainment, but the facilities are smaller if you're looking for the massive Las Vegas style wow factor. And remember, if you charter a cruise ship for an event, you can organize also your own entertainment, bring your own DJs, for example, musicians, and host special guests. Question 12. What are the best brands? Again, this comes down to your own needs and taste. There are incredible brands for each category. For corporate events, we always recommend using brands that have a lot of experience and specialized with internal teams dedicated to handling complex events. Question 13. What about branding? If you charter a cruise ship, the branding possibilities are incredible. From massive banners and elevator wraps to logo on your menus, personalized room keys, and branding in the casino. For smaller groups or partial charters, you still have some interesting branding possibilities. Those possibilities just need to be discussed and negotiated with the cruise line. Question 14. Are there meeting rooms for presentations? Some cruise ships have dedicated meeting rooms and conference centers. Others might not, but they can turn basically any beautiful lounge into an inspiring meeting area. And the AV equipment is normally included. For a large session, you will normally have the main theater available, which is state-of-the-art and perfect for massive gatherings. Question 15. What about fitness and wellness? Normally, ocean cruise ships have fantastic, well-equipped fitness areas, and some have massive luxury spas. On river cruise ships, these spaces are much smaller, but you can also do active excursions in port, and bicycles are normally available to use. In general, fitness areas on ocean cruise ships are superior to what you would normally find in an equivalent hotel on land. Question 16. Is the Wi-Fi and connectivity actually good? Let's be honest with that. Not always. On contemporary cruise ships, you will usually have to purchase Wi-Fi access as a separated package. And on large cruise ships during sea days, my experience is that the Wi-Fi is not always at the level of a shore experience. There are thousands of users at the same time, and even with the latest satellite technology, it will feel a bit slower than an hotel. However, I have experienced certain luxury cruise lines where the connectivity was excellent and completely comparable to an high-end hotel on land. Did I forget some questions? I'm sure I did. Please get in touch if you have any additional questions about hosting your event at sea. You can contact me directly via LinkedIn or visit our website at bancostacruise.com. Thank you so much for watching and see you on board very soon.